And early. Y'all okay with that? Sorry. I got a cushion in my seat. Probably should have got that situated before I hit open. Who's all here for our Sunday Night Live? How y'all doing? Y'all staying warm? It's cold here. We haven't gotten the negatives yet. I think we're going to hit, I think we're going to be getting in the negatives the next couple days, but we're at 16 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's so cold that I've had to bust the waters multiple times a day in the cages, and they just keep freezing over. Like, I would fill them, and a few minutes later you could see like the crystals coming around the edge of them. And the chicken water had ice and it's that thick. I'm not exaggerating. It took me forever to bust it so that I could fill it with fresh water. It would have been a lot smarter of me to have brought some warm water down there to fill them, but I didn't. I wasn't that smart. And so I had to bust it. So I had a good workout. But who's all here? Let's see. I see one person. Leave a comment. Tell us who's here. I appreciate y'all coming out and coming to our Sunday Live. I typically try to do these every Sunday. Don't get to it every time, unfortunately, because it's how it works. But I try to have it live every Sunday. So I appreciate the people that come to hang out with us every Sunday. I do try to do multiple lives throughout the week. But we don't always get to it. But I appreciate so much everybody coming to hang out. I'm hoping. There we go. For whatever reason, it wasn't popping up my live chat messages. But it is now. Hey, Celtic Grandma. How are you doing? You staying good and warm? It's cold, guys. I hope everybody is staying warm and cozied up. I feel so bad for homeless people. Every winter, I think about people just living under bridges, and it makes me so sad. Hi, Mama. It makes me so sad. Doing good. Oh, yeah, staying warm. I hope so. Bless your heart. This cold is hard on people, especially older people. We are doing great. We're doing wonderful. We stayed warm today, barely. We did stay warm, but barely. The animals were doing great as well. Everybody's been holding on. I did a video recently and had a few comments that people had said, but it was talking about keeping chickens warm in the wintertime and how we don't do anything but keep a windbreak on them. Hopefully this summer won't be another drought. I know. Did you all get hit pretty hard? You all are in the Texas area, ain't you? We got hit hard, but not near as hard as they did below us. More southern areas than us. Cold, not bad. What's your all's temperature? I'm just curious. Right now, ours, I checked it, and I think it said 16 degrees. But it's so cold. It's so cold that you set water outside and it just freezes. And so that's always the fun thing about wintertime on the farm and the homestead is you spend a lot of time breaking waters. But that's okay. That's what we sign up for. But I had done a video about not doing anything for the chickens in the cold. 52 degrees. Wow. Oh, man. I'd love to have 52 degrees. The other day, well, you all probably seen the video of me moving them panels out of the 52 degrees down to 31 tonight. That's probably cold for you all, though. But it was 40, I think 42 degrees, and we were like taking layers off and like just enjoying the sunshine. Wind makes it bad. Yeah, it does. It does make it bad. And I feel like, it makes it especially bad, when it's cold, because it just cuts through you. It's just, yeah, that's a bad part about it. I don't like the wind. I don't like the wind hitting me in the face. When I'm out doing chores and it hits me in the face and just like takes my breath away. I can't, I hate that. But it's part of it, y'all. That's what we signed up for. But I thank God that all the animals are doing good, and all that. And I want to ask you, I do it when I have videos or lives, but I want to ask y'all to pray for my Nana. She is in the hospital. She's up in her 80s, and she has been really sick, and because of that, she was weak, and she got up to do something, and she fell. And she's in the hospital, and having complications from that fall. I don't believe she broke anything, but she's having some bleeding, some internal bleeding and such. And so y'all pray for her. Them falls, when they get up in age like that, it's just really, really hard on them. So y'all remember her in prayer. I would appreciate it. Oh, well, I just knocked the whole thing down. Y'all are gonna have to excuse me. I'm so glad everybody's here. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it greatly, and I'm sure she appreciates it. She's a wonderful person, and it's hard to see the people you love the most, especially your grandparents, because you know it's coming. Like, none of us are promised tomorrow, but you always know, your grandparents that, especially when you get up a little bit older, when you get in your 30s and your 40s, you're not going to have your grandparents around. You come to the realization that you're not going to have your grandparents around forever, and that's hard. We buried my papa, which is her husband, not too long ago, and so it's hard. So she needs prayer, and it seems like when you get so nervous that you're going to lose them when things happen like this. And so she really needs prayer, and we appreciate it, and I'm sure she appreciates it as well. If you guys are wondering what I'm drinking, this was given to us all the way from Hawaii. It is I think it's passion fruit and orange, maybe. A passion fruit and orange drink, and it is delicious. Yeah. 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 It's rough. But if you all don't know, and I'm gonna have a video coming out probably tomorrow. I've got it edited. Hopefully it'll post, Lord's willing, tomorrow. But if y'all don't know, we ship exotic birds, or exotic chickens is actually what we do. My husband's chickens, they're exotic breeds, different types of breeds of chickens all over the world. And he has become really good friends with a man in Hawaii that we ship birds to, and he sent us a massive package full of all kinds of goodies, and one of those things was a powder that you just add water to, and this is delicious, guys. It's kind of got an orange juice color with like a sweetness to it. It's really amazing, and I appreciate it so much. But I think it's so neat and to just, that's one thing I love about this, is you get to know people all over the world, and those people are wonderful people, and they sent us a package. Those chickens run wild in Hawaii. When we were there, one got on the table and wanted to eat my food. Oh no. Oh no. These are hopefully not going to be running wild. He is a breeder, and so we shipped multiple breeding pairs to Hawaii, and he loved our birds so much that he sent us a package back, which is super neat. And it's really cool to have stuff from Hawaii. He sent us a couple coffee mugs, and so we're gonna have to put those in our china cabinet with all of our goodies. We can't drink out of them because why? Why would you drink out of a coffee cup that was sent from Hawaii? That's probably the closest that we'll ever get to Hawaii, guys. It's probably the closest we'll ever get to Hawaii. I don't want to never say never, but the chances of us going to Hawaii is probably slim to none. Unless we hit the lottery. And since we don't play the lottery, the chances are a little bit more slim. But it's really good. He gave us another one. He gave us, correct me if I'm wrong, but he gave us a lot of macadamia nut products. So is that something in Hawaii that's popular? I'm figuring that they probably grow a lot of type of nuts. They have quite a few nut trees. And, okay, I've got a question, guys, because this year I want to grow loofahs. Has anybody on here ever grew loofahs? Because I need to know, which I could look it up. It'd probably be easier to just maybe look it up. But if you all know, let me know if you all have ever grown loofahs. If you did, my main question is, do they need full sun? Because when I looked them up, it said, I haven't bought my seed packets yet, but when I looked them up, it said they're a subtropical, tropical plant, so I'm thinking that they need sun. Yeah, maybe she wants a destination wedding, like one we went to. Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah. Yeah, if she wants to have a destination wedding, that would be wonderful. I don't know how well her daddy would want to pay for a destination wedding, but maybe she would want a destination wedding. That would be neat. Maybe one day. We never say never, I guess, because we don't know what tomorrow brings, but maybe one day we'll be able to make it to Hawaii. But really, honestly, I'd love to go to Hawaii, but my bucket list is Ireland. They say that Ireland is so much like Kentucky. And so I feel like if I went, I would feel like home. I don't know. That's my feeling, that it would feel like home to me, but like a little more wet. And so, I don't know. But all that to say that I'm happy with where we're at, and the Lord has blessed us with what we have. And so I don't want to sound greedy or anything like that, like I need those things, because I don't. He provides for us. But has anybody grown loofahs? I was looking at my seed catalog today, and I'm definitely got some varieties that I'm looking at. And I've had conversations, maybe with Daisy Q or somebody else asked if I saw loofahs growing in open sun on an arch trellis. That's what I'm thinking. Well, I'm thinking that if I take the fence, because we have room in the garden, but I don't really want to take up I don't want to take up our climbing space, because we usually use our climbing space for our pole beans. And so I don't want to take up the climbing space for the pole beans. What I was thinking, since we're not going to have the goats, obviously, and the goats eat everything. So what I was thinking is I could go along the end of the fence row, on the end of my goat pasture, like here's the yard, here's the fence row, and then in the inside of the goat pasture. I don't know if I would want to do it inside, because I think that the chickens would probably mess with it, which they might mess with it anyways. But I believe Koa would mess with it and get all in it. So I'm thinking that if I did it on the outside where the grass is, and I just grew loofahs on the end of that, it'll get full sun and it'll have something to climb up without having to build a trellis. I might be wrong. That might be a dumb idea. I'll have to talk to Andy about it because I haven't actually talked to him about it. But I'm thinking that we had a compost pile on the other side, and when I first started thinking about it, I was like, well, I'll just put it in the compost pile, but it's too shaded over there. Because we have the compost pile is on the edge of the wooded area. So I'm thinking that I need to put my loofahs on the end, and that way they'll get sun. But I really, really, really want to grow loofahs this year. That's something that I've never grew. And I know that that's something that we can use. Also something that might be a product that we could sell. And so, or just, like give to people, like give to our family members and stuff like that. I'm sure that they would appreciate it as well. But actually what made me want to do it, and I wish I could link her videos. I wish that I could link the girl, but she took her loofah, she grew loofah plants. And y'all tell me if you've ever seen this done. But she grew loofah plants, and you know how like they're round. She took them out of the thing. She laid her loofahs flat and kind of flattened them out. And then she took the ends. Well, did she fold it in half? She folded it in half and then took the ends and kind of did like this, like folded it in and then folded this in on top of that end and sewed it together. Yeah, loofahs. I think I would appreciate a loofah which I would appreciate anything that anybody give me, but I would appreciate a loofah for a gift or anything like that. But she folded it in and she sewed it with some type of like thick. It wasn't yarn, but it was like some type of thick thread, and she uses them to clean with. I guess she uses them like to clean her dishes. She called them her cleaning sponges. And so how wonderful is that? That's a wonderful idea. She's a super smart person if she's the one that come up with that. I would have never thought to use them that way, but as soon as I seen her use them that way, I was like, ding, ding, ding. I need to grow loofahs. And so I'm wanting to grow some loofahs this year. And so I am going to try to see if we can go ahead and get some seeds for them. I looked at them online and they're not expensive. And so I don't think it's going to be any a hard time to getting them. We also, if you followed along one of my few last garden videos, we did we planted our greens, collard greens, mustard greens, spinach, and kale, I think is what we planted. And we planted them too late. And I knew that we planted them too late. So no sooner than they sprouted, the frost hit them and killed them because they were so little. I wanted to try to plant them a little bit earlier, but we just didn't have the time. And so we tried it, and it was a waste. But as you all know, or I guess most of you all know, the farm ground is a wet, swampy area that is clay. Like, clay. The soil doesn't drain, and we've spent years, the last few years, since we've grew plants there, really adding the fertilize and compost I don't know if we've ever added fertilizer. We've added compost. Animal compost to the garden, and it's caused the soil to do a little bit better and break up easy and all that. Well, it's still poor in some areas, and I got the seed catalogs. Like, will you grab them? Actually, they should be in there. I grabbed some seed catalogs, and today I found I think they're collard greens or some type of green. They're called Southern Georgia, maybe collards. I circled them, I think. Let's see if I can find them. They were in the Seed Saver Exchange book. This is where we get most of our seeds. I've bought seeds from Baker's Creek. I have the Burpee seed catalog, and if you all don't know, you can go on, you can go to Google, type in free seed catalogs, and they will, it will give you a list of companies that have free seed catalogs. And so it's like Christmas when they come in. But anyways, let's see if I can find what I'm talking about. It was a type of green. I didn't get to make it all the way through this catalog. Let me see if I can find it. Y'all hang out with me for a minute. Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern. It says it's a historical variety of collard released in the 1880s. Released in the 1880s. It says slow to bolt and tolerates heat and cold and poor soil. And so I'm thinking that it will do good in our old yucky clay soil. Something else that I circled is these cucumbers. Okay, so if you watch the garden videos, I'm sure that, I'm hoping they'll thrive there. If you watched our garden video, you know that we succession planted, that was a hard word to say, succession planted cucumbers so that we could get a large amount of cucumbers. We had tried in previous years to grow cucumbers, but we never got enough. Like, we would eat them fresh, but we never got enough built up that were like, that size that we could pickle. And I talked to you ladies last time about my mother-in-law's sweet pickles. And guys, I asked her if she would do a video, and she said that in the summertime, Lord's willing, that she would do a video for us. Well, anyways, there's these cucumbers. I circled them, as you can see, and they're called a double yield cucumber, and they look like a pickling cucumber. It says early pickling type. So I'm hoping that these will be really, really good. But here's the story behind them. This variety was introduced in the 1924 by Joseph Harris Company of Coldwater, New York, with the claim that the remarkable, and it's got in quotation marks, the remarkable thing about this new cucumber is a wonderful productiveness. Golly, I couldn't say it earlier when I read it. Productiveness. For every pickle that is cut off, 2 or 3 more produced. Gardens today love not only its productivity, but also its crispy, juicy texture and melon-like taste. It is very early pickling type. This variety bears fruit that are best for canning and fresh eating when 4 to 5 inches long. Early to mid-season maturity, 50 to 60 days. And the seeds are organic, so that's a bonus. So I'm thinking that we're going to try these, which we might try different varieties. I can't remember what the name was. I think we wrote it down, what we used last year. But I circled those, and then I circled these snow fancy picklings to read on them later. Yeah, well, that's why I talked to Andy, and we usually, if we start seeds, we haven't started seeds in the last couple years because we've just been buying at local greenhouses to just support locally, and because we didn't have the time. We just didn't have the time, guys. But hopefully this year we're going to start a few things, and cucumbers might be it, because I really, really, really want to get enough cucumbers to put up. We were there last year, but we had an issue. My mother-in-law had a couple different ways that she was trying to can her cucumbers, and one of them was like an open canning method where you it was like this much sugar, or it was like, I can't even remember, and then you put like water in it or something in it, and you put it in a jar, and you put it, I don't know. Anyways, flies got in it, and so it ruined the cucumbers. It's just kind of gross. Maybe we could have used them, but I mean, I don't know about dead flies being in your pickling stuff. So obviously we threw them out. And so because of that, she had 2 jars that was like this deep with pickles in them, 2 of them. And so we lost those pickles, and then she canned the second batch that she did. And so I just let her have the pickles because she wanted to try those, and that's I'm perfectly okay with that. I was perfectly okay with that. I had my hands full with what I was doing, and so hopefully we can grow enough this year. I'm hoping these double yield will help us, but hopefully we can grow enough this year, and I might get 2 packs because it says 25 seeds each. And so if we did 25, and then succession planted and did another 25 maybe like a couple weeks later, then we should have enough cucumbers that we can actually pickle. And like I said, these or like I read, it says the 4 to 5 inches, and so short growing season with those. Yeah, it says 50 to 60 days. So it says early to mid-season maturity. So if we can continue and keep them up like we did last year, and we don't have any mishaps with cucumbers going bad while we're trying to pickle them and things like that, we should do pretty good along with the loofahs. And maybe I'll do, if you let me know if you all are interested in maybe doing a live specifically, or just a video. I think it'd be funner to do a lot more fun to do a live. We plant sometime in May. We usually, it's been so many years, I don't know exactly when. It's sometime in May is when we start. But we start green beans in the ground. We usually buy our cabbage plants. I don't think we've ever started cabbage plants from seed. And we've started tomatoes and peppers. And I was talking to you all about the Hawaiian box, and they sent us peppers. They sent Hawaiian peppers. They get like this long. They're supposed to be like sweet and spicy. So I'm super excited about those. And if Lord's willing, if we can start those, I will definitely be starting those. I squealed pretty much when I seen them. I was so excited getting those seeds. I told Andy we've got to keep them away from everything else to not let them cross-pollinate. Yeah. Well, we can't plant as early as Mother's Day, as in May, but we can start seeds in May. I misread what you said. You said we plant on Mother's Day. Now we do plant potatoes on Good Friday. Around that time, if it's not real wet, we can plant potatoes, but we can't plant anything else that early. We can start seeds in May, but we can't plant anything that early. Now, once we get them started in May, depending on when our last frost date is, we can plant. I misread what you said, Daisy Q. Typically, we can't start that early. Last year, we started earlier than what we usually do, and for the life of me, I can't remember when it was. I know that we planted our potato plants a little bit after Good Friday because it was wet, and we couldn't get in there. It was so that the clay soil was just too much. And like I said, where it's clay soil, it just doesn't drain very well. So you don't want to put potatoes just in like a big thing of water. And just let them sit. Obviously, that's not going to work. So, no, we plant a little bit later than May, but we can start seeds in May in the house, obviously, or under. My father-in-law made like a table thing that he had lights on, and he would put them in the garage under lights, and so. But besides that, no, we can't plant until a little bit later. But what I was asking, I think I got distracted. Would you all be interested in doing like a live just going through seed catalogs and we can talk about what you all are growing. We can talk about what we're growing, what we're starting. I want to try to start a little bit more this year, because hopefully, hopefully we'll have a little more time. Usually in the spring, gets pretty busy with babies and stuff, but now that the goats are gone, we're not going to have any issues with that. I don't have to worry about, monitoring pregnancies or anything of that besides maybe the rabbits. And so it shouldn't be as stressful, but we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what the spring brings, but I really would like to start some seeds. And I want to recommend you all something. If you all plant pepper plants and you plant bells, because I don't know about you guys, but our two number one things that we use the most the entire year long is peppers and onions. Peppers and onions are the two. I use those. I cook with peppers and onions almost every time I make a supper. If I'm making supper, I'm usually cooking with peppers and onions. If it's appropriate for peppers and onions to go in, I'm usually cooking with them. Even at breakfast time, when like we're making breakfast burritos, or if you make like an omelet or something, I'm putting pepper and onion in it. And so, anyways, we grew a pepper. Since the sun eats them up here so bad, but by a farmer's market, sadly. Well, if you could grow peppers, which these might not do as well because I think they're actually they might, because they have a shorter growing season. I believe because they're supposed to be a northern plant, but the sun might eat them up. If you could put them in a shady place, though, maybe that would help. I don't know. They're called King Arthur. King Arthur bell peppers. And they did wonderful. I'm hoping that I can get my hands on some seed. There's King of the North in here, and I know that that's a northern seed. And maybe that's what I'm thinking about up north in this book. But King Arthur. If I can get my hands on some of those seeds this year, or we bought them at a greenhouse, and maybe we'll be able to get them at the greenhouse again. But they were a wonderful pepper. Have you thought about, you're talking about the sun eating them up, have you thought about something like a hot pepper type of plant, but that's not hot? If you don't like spicy things. If you like spicy things, then maybe that would be okay. But your hot peppers, like your cayennes, your jalapenos, things like that are going to do better in the heat. That way you can have some veggies. You can have some peppers. Have you looked into that? I'm looking at the... I don't know. If you don't really have a shady place, is there a way for you to make shade? I don't know if you would, even be able to go through the trouble of that. But if you were able to, if you could do like in the hottest times of the year, could you shade cloths? That's what I was going to say, shade cloths. See, we get hot. We get up close to the hundreds. Sometimes, rarely, we get in the hundreds. But hundreds is like 102 or something. We don't get near as hot as some of y'all do in the south. But we don't have to do anything like that because it doesn't stay. The temperature drops pretty quickly here. So I've never had to deal with anything like that. Typically we put our plants out in the sun so that they can get more sun than shade. Gonna water them in the AM and that's a good idea. That would probably help. Um, could you water? Could you water in the AM and then again in the evening? What, as when the sun's going down? It's better to water them, even in our area. It's better to water them in the AM and then go back in the evening, if you can. I used to watch homesteaders that would had like a watering system. They lived in Arizona, and so their plants would stay wet. Um, but it's something about like if you're watering and the sun's done high up in the sky, it's just going to eat all that water out. Drink all that water up, and just suck the moisture out of them. But if you possibly could water in the AM, the early AM, before the sun gets real high in the sky, and then water in the evening, as the sun's going down, might could keep them a little more moisture on them. Something about, which I was telling you about putting them out in the sun, both of our gardens, our garden here at home and our garden at the farm. I don't know if you all have ever noticed at the farm. I've not done any videos of our garden here at the house, but it's in the shade. It's at the end of our house, and our house kind of sits up. The end of our house kind of sits up higher than the front of our house. So our house kind of goes, I mean, it's flat, but our house sticks up higher on the end. And so it has, like a good height on it. And it covers the garden. And so it gets sun a certain time of the day, and then other times of the day, usually when the sun's highest, it doesn't get as much sun. And so, I don't know if that would be, if you all have got any shaded areas, or have a place where you could like move your garden to a more shaded area, like on the end of a house, or at the farm, we have those big pine trees. And we have a long row of those pine trees that are huge. They're massive. And they mark the end of our property line. They mark the property line, and they shade the garden when it needs shade. And so I don't know if you would be able to do that. I don't know if you would be able to do that. But if you were able to do it, which you had mentioned the shade cloths, and they should help. But that's one thing about it. When we put our gardens in, we did try to put them in areas that we knew that they would get shade. I had a big old hair. We knew that they would get shade in the hottest times of the day. And so if you can think ahead, or if you're able to do that, not everybody's able to do that, I know that. But if you're able to do it, then that's a good way to do it. If somebody's watching on the live and they've never had a garden and they're looking for, information on that, if you can find an area at the end of a building, at the end of your house, yeah, yeah, that would be. She said, I guess need to read seed directions on how much sun needed. Yeah, which your peppers need quite a bit of sun, but I don't. But I don't have the same amount. I don't get the same amount of sun as you all do. I'm up in the mountains, and so we don't get as much sun as you all do. And so, and like I said, we're able to have our gardens. We've had the capability of being able to have our gardens in shaded areas, where we could kind of control our environment. And I know that that's not possible for everybody, but best case scenario, you can find a place that's shady, but like I said, it's not. What am I trying to say? Not everybody is capable of having that, shaded area. But those shade cloths do probably come in handy for that. I've seen people use the shade cloths in hot areas like Arizona. When I've watched videos, they use the shade cloths, and it does help them at least. Are you all able to also instead of growing in the summer, are you all able to grow in the fall? Or is it too cold for you all in the fall? Because you might be able to hold off and grow in the fall, grow your tomatoes and your peppers, and all that stuff in the fall instead of the summer. Have you been able to, are you able to do that? Because that would be, would be more ideal for you, than in the summer when the sun, because you all said, what'd you say your temperature was right now? Let me see. I know she said it gets in the hundreds here in the summer. I'm trying to find the comment where you all said what your temperature was. If you're able, see, like 52 degrees is like spring weather for us. Yeah. Yeah. See, we get your tomatoes might do better. Honestly, your tomatoes might do better. And the reason why I say that, they're going to be more disease resistant as well. Your plants are going to have less bugs on them, hopefully. Um, um, but we grow tomatoes. Our plants produce tomatoes until the first frost. We grow tomatoes from late spring, mid to late spring, probably late spring, when we plant them, and we grow all the way until our first frost, which is usually November. I know, I'd love to have a greenhouse. We've talked about it, but I'd like to have a small greenhouse. Here's the thing, ladies. Here's the thing. When I was in high school, I worked in the greenhouse through through FFA, through our FFA program. I took greenhouse. I took greenhouse twice in high school. I loved it. I loved being in the greenhouse. I loved being with the plants. I loved sticking my hands down in that soil and just, I loved it. I loved everything about working in the greenhouse. And so, maybe one day we can have one of our own. I would love to be able. I would love to have a greenhouse large enough that I could sell plants out of it, like seedlings and stuff out of it for sale, but also to produce enough for us. And so we'll just have to see. Andy loves the greenhouse as well. He loves being in. He loves the garden. He loves working with plants, even flowers. And so, yeah, we would love to have a greenhouse. It would be wonderful. But we'll just have to see. We've talked about it, but right now it's just it's not feasible. But maybe someday, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, maybe someday. But yeah, you all were talking about the fall. When we were talking about planting in the fall, maybe you all should. If the summer's too rough on your tomatoes and your peppers, just try the late summer into fall. Because like I said, our tomato plants produce when they start producing in the summer all the way until the first frost. I'm usually out there scavenging the rest of the green tomatoes off the plants before our first frost comes and trying to save them and get them red in the house. Yes. I love it. I love being in the greenhouse. Maybe that might be, guys, why I don't start seeds. Where I haven't started seeds the last couple of years so that I could go to other people's greenhouses and just walk through them. I usually leave with, pepper plants, tomato plants, all the plants, and then a cactus or a flower of some sort. My poor little garden, here at our house. I have a flower garden at the house, and it has been pitiful where I haven't been able to tend to it. But it is so full, like it's so full, it's so full of things that you can't even hardly see what's in it because I love so many plants and so many different things that I buy them and then we're like, where are we gonna put them? We'll just have to put them in a pot, bring them in the house. I have a tree. I have a tree in the house and a couple vine plants and cactuses and a couple aloes and I have okay. I don't have enough room in my house for the plants that I have, but they go out they go outside in the summertime, but they definitely come in when it's when it's getting colder outside because I love them. I love plants, and Andy does too. Something about a plant. I don't know, just in your house, just that adds a beauty to it, and it brightens it up. And so I even dry my plants. I'm looking at hydrangeas that I've got dried out, and I've got goldenrod hanging upside down in the hallway. It's still yellow, and so I need to do something with it, but I haven't. And so I just somebody walks by and hits it, and I gotta sweep up the mess that it made in the hallway. But it's totally worth it. I'm not sad about it. It don't hurt my feelings none that it's hanging up there. If anything, it adds beauty. But I love plants, and Lord's willing, maybe someday we'll be able to have a greenhouse, and I can enjoy. I know I will enjoy it, thoroughly enjoy it, being able to just be with the plants and plant them and just to have my hands in the soil. And I don't know, that just something about that is once I get older, once Lakin gets older, um, maybe I can, if it's not in the cards for us to get a greenhouse, maybe I can go work at a greenhouse. Um, when she gets a little bit older and more out of the elementary school years. Maybe in the middle school or high school years, we'll be able to do that. Come here, Ollie. Come on. Come here, bud. Come here. What are you doing? Come here. Oliver. Come here. Come here. Hey, Lakin. Yeah. Ollie needs to go potty. Will you let him out, hon? Like he's gonna let Ollie out. Come here! Come to Mama! He's gotta go potty. He's like, no, Mom, I just need you to open the door. Thank you, Sissy. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, there's something about just plants that me and Andy both just love. We love it. And it's funny because me and Andy, if you all knew us, like if you knew us like in real life and like personally like was around us, you would know that me and Andy are like two different people. There's very few things that we have in common, but those things are what we surround our life with, which is besides Lakin, having Lakin in common, she's part of both of us. Farming and plants, and being outside are the things that we have in common. But about everything else, we don't. We don't have in common. The longer we've been together, we do. But he's quiet and reserved, and he don't get upset about hardly nothing. Nothing tears him up. And he's just like a stone wall. I tell him all the time he doesn't have a sense of humor. It's hard to make him laugh. He's just, I don't know. I call him an old man because he just sits around like an old man. And I'm loud and rambunctious and dramatic and uh, easily easily excitable and just completely different than him when it comes to personalities. I think that's why we work, because he's like the yin to my yang, or the yang to my yin to my yang, or yang to my yin. He's, I don't know, he's just different. My husband has a dry sense of humor. Andy barely has a sense of humor. I wouldn't even call it dry. He barely has one. It's hard to make him laugh. I laugh constantly. Like, I spend so many hours of the day laughing. I laugh at myself. I laugh at people making jokes. I laugh at all kinds of things. Hold on, let me let the dog in. He's barking. I'll be right back. But he's completely different. He doesn't laugh very easy. It's hard to get him to laugh. And he's not very goofy acting. I don't know. He picks at people and he thinks that's funny. Like he irritates people in like a funny way. Like he's not mean when he does it. But we're totally different. Yeah, opposites attract. Yeah, we're totally different. Like if we I don't know. If we would have met like years before, see, me and him are 11 years apart. And so he's quite a bit older than me. He's 11 years older than me. I'm the younger one. He's 11 years old. You can't tell by looking at us. I feel like I look older than him. I've actually been told that I look older than him. But, and I'm 11 years younger, which it's not going to be good later on in life. But if I would have met him when he was younger, I don't think I would have been attracted to him. I don't think that I would have thought, yeah, that's the man I'm going to marry. Because I don't know why. He's just, I don't know. He wasn't, and we just have different personalities. But he's wonderful. I absolutely love him to death. And he is 100% my best friend. Which, Jesus is my best friend in the Lord. But outside of the Lord, yeah, yeah, he is. He's a gift from God. I tell him all the time that the Lord gave him to get on my nerves. Because he's just so dry and just, and I tell him that the Lord gave him me so that he had entertainment. So he had something to have to deal with. He's the type of person that he says it all the time. He said, if I didn't have you all, which you don't mean it bad, but he said, if I didn't have you all, that I would just live in a cabin by myself. And he said, they wouldn't even have to have electricity or anything like that. He said, I just live in a cabin by myself and just, hunt for my own food and stuff like that. I wouldn't. And that's how he is. He would be perfectly content just being by himself. And I think that's why the Lord put us together. I feel like that's why, one of the main reasons why the Lord just put us together, because he needed me. He needed me to be his aggravating thing in life. He needed me to show up with all my my drama. That's what he needed in life. Don't have a husband, though, hoping to meet someone. If anybody's watching, Celtic Grandma is single. She's looking for somebody. I'm just kidding. Bless your heart. I'm just kidding. I probably shouldn't have said that. Lord, forgive me. But, and Celtic Grandma, you forgive me. But, there's nothing like a husband that truly loves the Lord, because a husband that truly loves the Lord will love you. Not that desperate. Yeah. me and Andy have talked about it, which, like I said, he's 11 years older than me, and I'm completely prepared. Unless the Lord takes me out of here, when before him, I'm completely prepared, and we've talked about it. And it probably sounds morbid that we talk about it, but if he dies before me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't know how I will function, because I've been with him, like I've been with him so long, and by the time we get, like, let's say we make it to 70 and him 80 years old, by that point in time, I don't know. I don't think I could. I couldn't function now hardly, without him, but I don't know how I would even. Once I got that out, I don't know how I would. Hey, Chas. I don't know how I could function without Andy. It would have to. The Lord would have to help me, because he truly, is my best friend, and he is the only. But you'd have surviving skills. Yeah, that would be all I have. That would be all I have, because he's always there for me. He's just, I don't know. There's just people, what your family is. My mama's on here. She's always there for me, but she's not there for me. She understands what I'm saying. She's not there for me like my husband is. He's just my best friend, and I love him, so much. And like I said, we're exact opposites. Chastity knows she's on here. She knows us personally. We're exact opposites, but for whatever reason, it just works. And it has for we've been together. How long have we been together? We've been together 10 years, I guess. I know. I'm a total mess. I'm a total mess. See, that's the thing. You said I got survival skills, but I can't even get screws out of a hay trough without getting messed up. But like I said, having a husband that loves the Lord, they're able to love you. And I learned that when we first got married. Everybody talks about the first year of marriage being the hardest, and it was. The first year of marriage was hard for me and Andy, just getting used to each other, and things like that. And we're not the type of couple that argues. We just, we might get in like a disagreement, but we're not the type of couple that argues. And I get more tore up than he does. He sits there. And like I said, he's not easily moved. And he's not easily tore up, but I get tore up. But first year of marriage is always, it seems like it's always hard. But after that first year of marriage, it was so easy just being married to him. And I've lost my train of thought. But after our first year of marriage, me and Andy both got saved. We both found the Lord. And when we both found the Lord, it just makes it so much easier to love somebody. I feel like you can't truly love somebody until you love yourself. Yeah, yeah. See, Andy's. I've said it time and time again that Andy's a picky eater, but he's not the type of picky eater that won't eat, like, vegetables, or like things that I've heard other people not liking. Like, he's not a picky eater like a child is. He's just not very. He's not open to trying a lot of new things. He is in one sense, but in another sense, he's not. Um, he's particular about things getting being cooked a certain way, and I've had to learn that throughout our marriage. Not that he's like mean about it. I don't want it to sound like he's mean about it, because he's not. But he's just he's particular about things, and everybody's particular about different things. But he is truly my best friend, and I think a lot of that, I contribute a lot of that, like I said, to just me and Andy both finding the Lord, and being able to truly love ourselves within the Lord, so that we could love each other. Um, I I don't think anybody can love. I don't think anybody can love unconditionally, like the Lord can. The Lord loves us unconditionally, but I think that we can love each other enough, that we can. Yeah, Mom said Joe's the same way. He's a picky eater. But we can, when you're saved, you can love people differently, and you're able to forgive them a lot easier than you are when you're struggling yourself. I think a lot of times we project how we feel on the inside onto others, and that's in general. That doesn't matter whether you're married or not. If you're having communication with other people on a regular basis, we can we can tend to project how we feel on other people, whether it's necessary or not, or whether it's a good feeling or not. And so if we work towards having a more loving spirit about ourselves, being able to love people, we can do a lot better. And I'm not saying it because I'm an expert, because I'm not an expert. I fail. But and I fall short, and everybody does. But if we can get a loving attitude, an attitude of gratitude about us, we can do a lot better for people around us, and be able to do a lot better for ourselves. And that's for any walk of life, any walk of life that you're in. You have to work up. An attitude of gratitude takes work. You're not going to wake up and just be able to control how you perceive yourself to the world. You're going to have to work towards that. You're going to have to mentally prepare yourself for that. You have a good evening as well. Thank you for popping in and being with us. You've been on here an hour. Bless your heart. I appreciate it so much. And you have a good evening. God bless you, and I hope you sleep good tonight. But we need to, as a whole, as a group, as a world, we need to work towards being able to work towards having a better attitude about things in life. And being able to control and conduct ourselves in a way that is uplifting to others. Whether we're angry or upset or mad about something. And like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I don't claim to be an expert on this. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. And I'm not trying to say you have to do what I say. But I'm just, just saying stuff that probably needs to be said. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a know-it-all. I really don't. But I myself want to work towards being a more loving and kind person. I want to work towards having a better attitude about the things that I have, having an attitude of gratitude. Like I said, I want to work towards being more, having more charity in my life for others, having a greater love for others, having more compassion for others. And I don't think there's anything wrong with those things. Those are all things that are necessary for life. We need to be able to love one another. We need to be able to have a gratefulness in our hearts, not just for other people. Not having those attributes about yourself is not only going to benefit you or benefit others, but it's going to benefit you. It's going to fill your heart. It's going to make you happier. And there's been times in my life where I've been able to be more loving towards others, and I've been able to be more charitable towards others, and I've been able to have a better attitude about things, and I feel better inside. I feel better inside. And as a human being, like I said, we all make mistakes. We all fall short, and we need to be able to ask for forgiveness. We need to be able to forgive ourselves for those things and do better and try again. And so that's just my spiel for the day. And I feel like if I talk about it anymore, I'm gonna sound too like a know-it-all. So I don't want to sound like a know-it-all, but those are the things that I want in my life. I just want to be a more loving and grateful and charitable person. And so if I can work towards that, I will be. If I can work towards having more of those things in my life, I know that I will be a happier person, and I want to be a happier person. I am just like everybody else. I have my struggles, and it's okay to have those struggles. I did a video recently about failing. It's okay to fail. And guess what? I still struggle with failure. Everybody does. Everybody struggles with failure, and failure happens. And so we just got to be able to take that failure and see something good in it. And so that's what I try to do. And I feel better about it. I don't feel bad for it anymore. When I began to fail, when I felt the failure coming, I knew it was, I was going to have a better outlook on it. Like I knew that it was going to be hard on me, and it was. The failure was hard on me. The feeling of failure and feeling like a failure is a real thing, and it happens. And we just got to be able to work through those things. And high school was so kind sometimes. Think. Yeah. Yeah, people take advantage of people like that, and it's sad. I can't say that I was so kind in high school that people took advantage of me, because I wasn't a kind person in high school. I wasn't a horrible person or anything like that, but I didn't. I didn't have a attitude of gratitude about me, and I struggled a lot in high school, which I wasn't deliberately mean to anybody or anything like that. But I also was struggling, and so I wish that I could look back and say that I was super kind in high school, and of course I wasn't mean to nobody. Lord knows that I was not. I didn't go out of my way to be mean to anybody. And I would stand up for people that needed stood up for. And I think that that's why I wasn't kind, because I would aggressively stand up for people that needed stood up for. And I probably could have handled it in a better way than I did. But I was a teenager, and teenagers do dumb things, and they don't think of the future. But since I have come to know the Lord, I can see those things. And of course, the Lord forgives us for those things when we ask for it. And so He doesn't hold my past against me. But I just want to be a kinder person. I want to be a more loving person. And so, like I said, there's nothing wrong with being more kind and more loving to people. Not a thing wrong with it. I feel like that's been lost in generations, and people being more kind. Here's a perfect example. A neighbor of ours passed away this week, and they buried him today. And so prayers for that. Pray for that family if you all pray. He was one of the kindest neighbors I believe I've ever encountered. He allowed us to use his farmland for our horses and allowed us to put gates up on his pasture where he had cows. And if we needed to borrow, we borrowed his trailer one time to pick up horses. I don't, he would, tell us all the time if we needed to borrow his tractor, that he would allow us to borrow his tractor. He was the definition of a wonderful neighbor, and he had just a wonderful heart about him. And he's just a charitable, he's a charitable person. He would do, I mean, he would be the type of person that if you had something go on in the middle of the night and there was nobody else to help you, that if you needed his help, you could call him and he would be there. And so he was an amazing neighbor. But there was difference at times that because he was such a good neighbor, that there was other neighbors that took advantage of his kindness, and would borrow his equipment and break it and bring it back broke, or wouldn't treat his equipment the way it should have been, or just recently before he passed away, somebody had broke into his garage where he kept his equipment and stole a bunch of things. And so people, you were talking about people taking advantage of you, people took advantage of him, but he never did, like, they weren't quite sure who did it, but they had an idea who had, stole from him. And I don't think he ever, nothing came of that. He didn't. And so people will take advantage of other people, of their kindness. But when they die, when people die that are so caring and loving and such a good person, what a wonderful thing it is to, when you pass away, for somebody to say, this man was an amazing neighbor. He was so loving, and he would give his shirt off his back for you. That's a wonderful legacy to leave. And I had talked to his daughter the other day. She had came to let us know what the funeral arrangements was, and I told her, I said, your daddy was a wonderful neighbor, and he was such an amazing neighbor to have, and he did so much for us. And she said my daddy was the most loving person I knew. She said he was such a good person to other people, and he was. And that's a wonderful legacy to leave. I hope that when I die, people can say the same thing about me. That they can say that I was a loving neighbor and a loving person, and that I would give my shirt off my back to to give it to somebody else. I hope that they can say that about me. But if you're the type of person that takes advantage of people like that, when those people pass away, you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life. You're going to have to live with the thought that you mistreated those people, and took advantage of them. And that's not a good thing to have on your conscience. That's not a good thing to think back and think, I could have done them better than that. But it happens. It happens. And we all have regrets in our life. But you said those people don't have a conscience. Sometimes they don't, but we got to face up to it sooner or later, whether it's in this life or the next. We've got to admit when we're wrong, whether we do it now or later. And I always say, my mom always told me, what goes around comes around, and you better hope that what you're sending out is good, because if what you're sending out ain't good, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back on you, and that is not that's not a good thing to be sending out bad, and bad coming back on you. I'd sooner rather send out the good than the bad. My mother-in-law always says that her daddy said that life was short and full of trouble. And it is. And it seems like the older you get, the more you realize how short life is and how much trouble comes of it, which there's good in it too, but life is short and full of trouble for sure. I feel like we've went it seems like on these lives we always go from like up here to getting real serious, but it's just part of it. I guess we're saying things that need to be said. I thank everybody for showing up, though. You all have been wonderful. We've had some wonderful conversations. It's been great having this live, and I appreciate it. If you all are watching right now, I think I said it in the beginning, I try every Sunday to have a live. I try every Sunday now. Sometimes I don't make it every Sunday, but I do try to at least have one live a week. But every Sunday I try to have one. Now, when we're out at the farm, it's out in the boonies, like I always say. It's out in the boonies and the connection is not that good. And when I have lives out there, it's when I watch them back, I'm like, my goodness, they probably can't even understand what I'm saying. But I do try to have a live every Sunday, and I try to get back home. That's why I've been doing a little bit later at 8 o'clock. I try to get back home by 8 o'clock. Is it snowing? Mom said it's snowing. Let me see, Mom. Let me see if it's snowing out here. Oh my goodness! The road's covered. Guys, the road's covered outside. Lakin. I hear ya. She'll be super excited about that. Look outside. Come out to this window. It's covered. Covered in snow. Come over here. But I appreciate everybody that's been here, and I appreciate y'all watching and hanging out with us. There's been a lot of people that's popped on.
It's covered.
And you all feel free to come back to our live. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We have a wonderful community. If you've been on here for any extended period of time, you know these lives go from one thing to another. We talk about many different subjects. And it usually always seems to get serious somehow. Either serious or towards the end it gets absolutely ridiculous and crazy. But I appreciate everybody here. And like I said, I try to have a live every Sunday now. You know, don't hold me to that. But Lord's will, I try to have a live every Sunday if I can. I'm also thinking about maybe doing a midweek live, and you all leave a comment and let me know what day would work best for you. Would Wednesday work better? Would later in the week or earlier in the week? If I'm having one on a live, probably don't want to do like a Monday live. But what day would work better for you all? I can't guarantee that we're going to be having a live every midweek. But if you all are on here and you can, leave a comment and let me know what day would work better for you. I know that through the week people just get busy, and so maybe I don't know. But you all let me know if you'd be interested in that. Daisy Q says Wednesday. So we might I try to do at least one on Sunday. We might try to do a midweek. But I appreciate everybody that's been here and the wonderful conversations we've had. And I hope that you all are I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope you all have a good night. I hope you all stay warm. It looks like we're going to be getting some snow. Andy listens to the weather on the like on the news. We don't have a TV, and so he looks it up on his phone. And looks at the weather. And they've been telling us we were going to have snow for, 2 weeks. And we got a skiff of snow. Not before last. It was like on the edge of the grass. Enjoy snow. Take pictures on the farm. Yeah, we'll have to see if we have snow tomorrow morning when the sun's out. But it looks like it's accumulating. They've been telling us that we were going to get it, but I just say it's in the Lord's hands. If he wants us to have it, then he wants us to have it. Mom commented and said it was snowing because she's a snow bug. She loves the snow. And so hopefully we can do a video, or at least a couple pictures of the snow. It's awful cold though. I'm kind of, I think the temperature's supposed to drop even more. And so we'll just have to see how wonderful that's going to be in the snow. My phone has been getting so cold that I have to like video for 5 minutes, if that, not even 5 minutes, just a few minutes, and then I got to put it in my pocket and rub it and warm it up, video, and then put it in my pocket and rub it and warm it up. And so it died on me the other day for like 30 minutes. Couldn't hardly get it back on. But all that to say, I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. I hope y'all come back for the next one. Hopefully we can have one next Sunday, Lord's willing, and the creek don't rise. Hopefully maybe we can do a midweek. But I appreciate everybody. We love y'all with the love of the Lord. And I hope that y'all will come back. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Like this video, go through, binge watch my videos if you want. It'd be super nice if y'all will go through my videos and watch them. But I appreciate it so much. You all are so wonderful, and this community is just so supportive and wonderful. And you know, it's just amazing how so many people can come together. I'm gonna go on another rant, but I appreciate y'all watching, and I hope that we can see you on the next one. We'll see you later. Bye.